Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF 44 coming at you with another video. So, I made a video earlier addressing a certain situation with a gentleman by the name of Sanetta, of in regards to Brother Polite, and it's only right that I make a follow-up video to that because some things have happened. Something was said uh, that is only right that if you're gonna make a video about that, then you gotta let people know what happened after that. So, um, nothing in regards to myself. I didn't talk to anybody. Nothing personal here. I'm removed completely. I just made my point of view and left it up here for everybody, including yourselves, to see. I don't know if it was viewed by anybody or not. Who knows, right? My channel hasn't taken off. I just kind of vent into the world, and if someone sees it, great. If no one sees it, someday they may, and that's okay, you know. But for the time being, I more so wanted to bring up the points from what I saw from my point of view, because I had tried to leave a comment on the page in regards to Sanetta, and just watching his response to supporting Brother Polite, and more so not willing to kind of throw him under the bus despite having DNA evidence that would otherwise give us reason to pause in regards to giving him the reason benefit of the doubt. I question why he should have even been given an opportunity to post bail in regards to the situation, etc., etc. So basically, what I'm here to say is, since I made that video today, Sanetta has gotten on to today. His platform is basically completely severed himself from Brother Polite. His point of view. I have not watched the video in regards to him doing this. I actually saw a third-party video that referenced him doing this. That was good enough for me, basically. I heard the clip that he was just basically saying, I don't care if this man is innocent or guilty, I'm distancing myself from Brother Polite. Brother Polite will not be on Sanetta's platform any longer. So I just felt it was important to come back up here and say that, because the last time I spoke with y'all, I was upset, venting on the fact that I felt like Sanetta was not holding himself in a light that he would want to show his conscious community, because he was continuing to support this individual despite the DNA evidence. My point of view was that Sanetta had no problem bringing up the topic of Brother Polite being inappropriate with young girls, as it pertained to him having conflict with Brother Polite. When they were beefing, it's no problem saying that stuff. But when now the allegations have come about that aligned with such a thing, and there's DNA evidence attached to the circumstance, now, since they've squashed their beef, it seemed to myself that suddenly he doesn't want to touch on the topic as it pertains to this particular person. And I'm like, well, you bring it up when you're mad at him, but you ain't gonna bring it up when y'all cool and there's real actual allegations of victim and some very, very damning evidence. So that was my point of view. I get the feeling that was most people's point of view. And look, this was the thing. This was the point I also wanted to make in the video, that I was hopeful if anybody were to see it, they would understand as well. If Brother Polite turned out to have not done this some magical how, because at this point the DNA evidence doesn't leave me a whole lot of room for that. But if for some reason this was a setup, there's still a victim involved because the child would have had to have gone through something in order for this to have been possible, regardless of whether or not it was what we believe it to have been. At the end of the day, the child was put through something horrible in order for this to have manifested, based on the details of the facts. So with that being said, I felt like Sanetta should feel kind of protected, in the sense of your political connections and the people that you're trying to show that you are loyal to this man should understand the position you are in, because of the evidence and the facts that we understand involved in the situation. And most importantly, if the person you are trying to support is innocent, he should have now seen that you had the friendship, loyalty, whatever the case may be. He should see that you were willing to apply that as far as you could, you know. And now, if we are to assume this man is innocent, we are also to assume that he's a good friend to this brother Sanetta. Then we should understand that Polite should know what Sanetta should have to do now. It should be a situation where Polite understands, okay, I've become toxic for my guy here. I've become toxic for his community. You got to do what you got to do, my friend, right? I understand what you have to do, so I'm not going to hold you to it. I'm not going to take it personal. It's now time for me to be a friend to you and let you cut that tie for the betterment of what it is that you're a part of. And if that person ain't your homie, then they going to let you die on the hill they going to die on when they guilty. Either way, Sanetta should cover his backside as it pertains to his interests, because you've already applied a certain level of loyalty that everybody who's watching can say, yeah, he showed him love. But at this point, now those same people are looking and saying, okay, well, why aren't you showing no love to the young victim, of whom should be first? And that was my point of view in the video. Like, look, your political ties, your friendship, or your gang ties, or whatever it may be, truly, whatever it may be, however that union go, there should be nothing within your organization that should be leaving room for young 14-year-old girl to get molested or hurt or left unsafe by anybody within your organization. That should not be a part. I don't personally care what form of union you and your buddies have. If y'all not standing for that, then your foundation is whack. And that goes for the streets, that goes for business, that goes for households, families. If you're not willing to protect children, there's nothing to trust about you. There's nothing to trust about you. Especially if you're a person who has daughters, especially a person who have kids. It's like, how can I possibly trust that you have the best interests of anything just in mind if you are willing to leave a child unsafe for the betterment of the structure of whatever it is you got going on? So in my mind, it's like, yo, if the conscious community is serious about being civil, just simply civil, they need to drop this bullcrap about protecting my brother as it pertains to damning evidence against him in this form with a child involved. You know, no. And I would tell all my friends, look, business-wise, if allegations like that come upon me, I know I'm innocent. If you know me, you know I'm innocent. At this point, you do what you have to do to protect yourself. We'll do a head nod like this. I love you. I understand what you have to do. That way, there's some acknowledgement that there's that you've done your part from the person that you're trying to show this to, and some acknowledgement that you understand the severity of the circumstances and are not going to go too far with that. And that's where I think it is. You just go to a point. It's like, look, do you want to leave doubt that your friend didn't do this in real life? Yeah, you want to give every excuse for your buddy. You will even make yourself sound crazy to not have to face the fact some people, especially if people are like narcissists, or if they're people that really have a whole lot of confidence in themselves as it pertains to building themselves up. It's like, yo, I know I trust character. I know the people I allow around me wouldn't do nothing like that. So it has to be some explanation. It gotta be a setup, because it's about my character and who I trust myself to be around at this point. And if I can't trust this person and I let them in this close, then can I trust anybody around me? And that breaks down everything that I'm doing, and it makes me question everything around me. And then I have to, a lot of things have to be faced, honestly, psychologically, when your friend of yours gets accused of something like this and there's evidence behind it. And the sensitivity of that is something that I ultimately wanted to bring to you today in this video, because I don't think enough of that was said in the video. Now, that don't mean that I've changed my thought, because a child comes first, period. And that comes at a price for some people politically. It comes at a price for some people in their friendships. It comes for a price, and that's a price they should be willing to pay. Um, and that's how I feel about that. You know what I mean? You got to protect the children. At the end of the day, you got to protect the children. Um, and people who don't will be called out. Um, and that's just it. You know, I was once a child left unsafe, so I have a a horse in the race, so to speak. This is personal, and you know, at the same time, I see the angles. I see many, if not most, in this situation. And at the end of the day, whether Polite is guilty or innocent, that girl is a victim because of the nature of the evidence found on her and how it was found on her. It was his DNA. If that's absent, if you want to take this route, I'm not going to have the exact same point of view because there is no evidence. It's just his word, her word, and that can be spent a lot of different ways. But because of the type of the evidence, anybody that supports that man at this time without leaving room for him to be guilty is going to look like they're enabling him if they're close to him. They're going to look like they are the type of person that would leave the people that they love unsafe, the children in their lives unsafe. And the sheer even possibility of that, the notion that that is possible, deserves at least some conversation. And so that's another thing that I came here earlier today to mention. Just because you have a daughter does not mean that you can't be someone who allows the wrong people around you, or that you can't be somebody who would do the wrong things yourself. A lot of the worst situations taking place have to do with family members and children in the household. So that notion that you don't realize that, or that you don't see that angle, is offensive to me, you know. And that's one of the things I thought was prompting me to speak as well. It's like, you can't sit up here and tell me just because you have a child that there's no possible way that you could be compromised in this regard, or that he could be compromised in that regard. I don't want to hear that. That's ignoring some very, very, very obvious truths that that have already been discussed. Things that we know are happening, especially in our community. We know these things are happening. So for the notion that this can't happen is just because you are you, that's going to offend some people in and of itself. And I'm one of those people. So all in all, you know, it is what it is, man. Sanetta is separating himself from this guy. To me, look, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. But unfortunately, it's a little late, and it does look politically motivated. It looks like this is just another move that's necessary to keep things going, and that's, you know, the damage is done. Maybe this was just a eureka moment type of, you know, damn, I get it type of moment for a guy like Sanetta, saying, you know what, I didn't see it, and this is what needs to be done now, and we move forward. But the reality is, it just looks like as the fire gets hotter, he gets further and further away from his friend, and if that's what's happening here, it doesn't make you look any better than you did 6 hours ago. But you know, as I say with most situations, I look at corporations as guys that play ball. I've talked about what's going on in Afghanistan. I think the guys over there, they're trying to play ball. It's one of those situations where it's like, I'm no longer looking for people to have integrity. I'm just looking for them to show solidarity and display it. I don't assume that anybody cares about anything, but I do know that people understand that in order to keep this thing spinning, we got to behave a certain way, and we got to stand for certain things. Certain things have to be in order for everybody to be sane and play their part. And I think that most people are starting to understand that. We're in a time where there are a lot of opportunities to make money. There are a lot of opportunities to buy property and things of that nature, to be a part of this new revolution that we have technologically. And I think that those who are being barbaric, those who are being weird, those who are being against social justice norms are people who are going to be left outside of the loop, and no one wants to be, quite honestly. So that's how I look at it. I don't think corporations love us when they do things like put certain social messages outside, or maybe plaster Black Lives Matter on their floor, or whatever the case may be. I don't think they love us. I think it's one of those situations where they just understand what they have to do to be players in the game. You see what's happening with the baby? You get canceled when you align yourself the wrong way. You know, say the things the wrong way, and the people around you, they have to distance themselves from you in order to keep their stuff going. It's just the functionality of how things are politically in this world, especially as it pertains to the entertainment business. So at this point, it's like, am I mad at Sanetta for not necessarily having the greatest display of character? Who does display the greatest character internally? Who actually has it these days? I can't tell you, but the people who display it can play ball. And I think that's what it really comes down to. So, is it a hopeless, pessimistic take on the human heart? To a degree, maybe, but more so it's just an understanding that people are different, are hide a lot of things, are sick and don't understand what's wrong with themselves, are in a society that doesn't really help them do that just yet, even though we're getting a little better at it. And I think that there's still some things we have to learn. Until we learn those things, I don't think people are always going to have the greatest point of views or display the greatest character, because they don't know why they should in some cases. So that's my point of view. I'm not mad at anybody for falling short. I fall short too, but I think that's the point of the days that we're in, where people can pick up their devices, hold one another accountable, and be held accountable just the same. And if we're using this thing properly, we're doing that for the betterment of one another, not to tear one another down, and certainly not to see one another slide for things that are awful. So protect the children. That's the point of view I'm always keep. And I thank you all for watching. My name is BDF44. Happy Kobe Day, everybody. I'm out.